Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney, and you're all going to be very excited. I heard from friend of the channel David, who I have not heard from in quite some time. And David popped in, said hi, and shot me a link to an article that he thinks we should cover on the channel. And because David is very clever at these things, I've decided to do so. He wanted us to talk about training repayment agreement provisions, or traps for short. And traps are what they are, in my perspective. I will link the article he sent me down below. So these agreements, here's the idea. It's prevalent in trucking, it's prevalent in nursing. It looks like it's becoming very popular in dog grooming, which is interesting to me. Apparently PetSmart has a program. Okay. Here's the gist of it. You want a job. Like you go to PetSmart, you're like, yeah, I wanna groom pets. PetSmart will be like, okay, we'll pay for your training. But if you leave, we'll just pick if you leave within 1 year, you got to pay us back for the training. Whatever we spent on it could be like a couple $1,000s, right? And according to Cornell, nearly 10% of U.S. workers are now covered by these agreements. I don't know that I think that's true. To be honest with you, I don't think that makes any sense at all. I don't know what Cornell's methodology was in arriving at that 10% number. But they're Cornell, and I think Cornell is swell. I just think they might be wrong here. But whether it's 10%, 8%, 5%, whatever it is, these agreements matter, and 5% of the U.S. population is a lot of people, and it's kind of concerning to me, right? Now, there's one way to look at it. You could say these are good because it gets people the training they need to get a vocation. So it's good that these employers are going out on a limb and paying for the training. It's great. They're investing in their workforce. Yeah, to an extent. Sure. I can see that argument. Counterpoint, if you're working as a dog groomer, making what I presume is $15 to $25 an hour, it's going to be very hard for you to quit your job if you have to pay several $1,000s back to your employer. And generally, we as a nation learned the hard way that jobs people can't quit are a really, really bad idea. Jobs people can't quit look a lot like indentured servitude. Not slavery. Slavery is far, far worse. There's an ownership component of a human being in slavery. But indentured servitude is that contract that people used to come and work in the States, before they were States, come and work in North America under, where they would, give away 5 years of their labor in return for a sum of money in advance to get brought over here and work. And that was the deal. Yeah, that doesn't work out great. Because what do people do when you can't quit? They abuse you. They abuse you a great deal. That's what human beings do with power. They abuse it. That's how we're designed. So I don't think that these agreements are a particularly good idea. Could they be fixed? Could they be done in a way that allows employers to invest in employees while also giving employees protections? Maybe. But I would probably argue that the employers, it's worth it for them to just invest in employees anyways, whether they keep these employees or not. Like, what's the attrition rate? If you're giving someone training in a job that's actually good and appealing to work at, that person's probably going to stay a while. Probably more than a year, right? If you're giving someone training and then a job that is terrible, has terrible working conditions, has terrible pay, they're not going to want to stay. So the easier way to capture a higher percentage of the people you train, keep them working for you, keep them in your family of employees, might just be to pay better. Have we not considered that? Like, why, as a nation, are we allowing agreements where it's like, you can accept the training, but if you leave us in the first year, you're going to owe us thousands? When we could just have a system where it's, hey, we're going to pay to train you, and this job is tremendous. It's really good given what your prospects, your earning potential was before this training, so we think you're going to stay. Right? That's probably a much better way to go about this. Much less scary, much less aggressive, right? And I know somebody's going to jump in and be like, oh, Vince, relocation costs, it's the same thing. If you get relocated for your job and then you leave in 3 months, you have to pay the relocation costs back, which I would say is not the same thing. It's not the same thing for a couple of reasons. Because first off, employers who pay relocation costs generally do so for higher end employees, higher earning employees, right? If you're making $15 an hour, I'm guessing it's very unlikely that most employers are going to relocate you. Could it happen? Does it happen? Sure. I'm sure it does. But it's rare, right? Generally, relocation bonuses, relocation pay, moving expenses are all fronted by employers for employees they really need. High talent, high education, high earning employees, generally speaking. Not making fun of other employees who don't receive that stuff. I'm just saying it's different, right? It tends to be a higher earning employee who receives relocation expenses. And I don't pity a higher earning employee who takes a job, relocates, gets paid to relocate, gets there and says, I don't want to stay working here. Well, that higher earning employee probably has the resources to not be stuck, right? And my main issue with these TRAPS agreements is specifically that I don't want people stuck in a job, right? If you go and get a job as a trucker and you get the training paid for by the trucking company, and then the trucking company makes you sit 12 hours a day unpaid at a rail yard waiting for your pickup of your whatever you're moving and your truck, I want that person to be able to be like, this is stupid. Why am I sitting here in a truck for 12 hours uncompensated? I'm quitting, right? That doesn't make sense. Why? And this happens to truckers all the time. This is very common. But trucking companies take the position like, no, you're not working. You can just sleep or whatever in your cab. Like, you're not working, so we're not paying you. You're still losing 12 hours of your life. Like, it's not as if you could have driven home during that period of time. It doesn't make sense, right? And I understand that they're potentially complying with the laws, depending, who you ask, how you look at it. But I'm just saying, when you get the training and you're sold the bill of goods and you're told how this job is going to be, then you go in and sit unpaid for 12 hours. I want that human being to be able to just say, hey, this is not a good deal. You're treating me poorly. I quit. And I don't want them to feel like they can't do that because they might owe the employer thousands of dollars. That is, to my mind, not okay at all, right? And I think also there's just a component of you never want anything to get close to indentured servitude. I understand there's fundamental differences. I'm not saying a TRAPS agreement is indentured servitude. I'm not saying that. I am saying that a TRAPS agreement could be viewed as indentured servitude adjacent. Which should all make us wonder, should we be doing this? Is this an okay thing to be doing? Should employers be allowed to do this? To which I would say, I don't think they should. I don't think they need to. They want to train, they should train. They want to retain employees, they should have better working conditions, better pay, better compensation, better benefits. Tell me about the bennies, right? Like, what have you done for me lately, PetSmart? Just my thought on this. David, thank you. It's good to hear from you. Thank you for sending the article over. And I will look forward to hearing from you again in the future. If this was helpful, like and subscribe. Helps me to help more people, just like all of you.